This is Rick Malone for the San Francisco Symphony. The ballet Fancy Free was a smash hit from the moment it opened in New York in April 1944. The man who wrote the music for this tale of three sailors on shore leave in the big city was Leonard Bernstein, who was then just 25 and an assistant conductor at the New York Philharmonic. And the choreographer was another brilliant young star, Jerome Robbins. But as big a hit as Fancy Free was, bigger things were on the way. Oliver Smith, who had designed the sets for Fancy Free, recognized that the ballet could be expanded into a full-length Broadway musical. So he convinced Bernstein and Robbins to give it a try and offered to help produce the show. Bernstein brought in his friends Betty Comden and Adolph Green to write the book and lyrics. Broadway veteran George Abbott agreed to direct, and another smash hit was born. They called it On the Town. On the Town opened in December of 1944, just a few months after Fancy Free. The attack on Pearl Harbor was just 3 years in the past, and the war was a constant presence. The story of three sailors who try to fit all they can into their last 24 hours on native soil before shipping off to battle resonated with audiences who embraced this life-affirming fusion of music and dance. In 1962, theater historian Stanley Green wrote, "Though brisk and breezy and totally escapist, the musical managed to create a remarkable empathy with its audience by conveying so well the urgency of people whose moments of happiness can never be anything more than fleeting." End quote. It's an early morning in June 1944. At the Brooklyn Navy Yard in New York City, workmen are arriving for their shift, and three sailors are setting out on a 24-hour leave. There's the happy-go-lucky, skirt-chasing Ozzie, Chip, the tourist determined to visit every landmark from the Statue of Liberty to the Bronx Zoo, and Gaby, the dreamy farm boy, overwhelmed by the mere idea of the city. On the subway to Manhattan, they see a poster of the beautiful Miss Turnstiles for the month of June, Ivy Smith. According to the poster, she doesn't work, studies painting at a museum and singing in ballet at Carnegie Hall, and is, in spite of her delicate demeanor, a champion at polo, tennis, and shot put. Gaby is immediately smitten and announces that he has to find her. So the three friends decide to split up. Chip will try to track Ivy through subway personnel, Ozzie will scour the museums, and Gaby will case Carnegie Hall. Out on the street, Chip meets Hildy, a taxi driver, who offers to drive him anywhere free if he'll go home with her afterwards. Meanwhile, Ozzie goes to the Museum of Natural History, where he is discovered by Claire, a passionate young anthropologist who is thrilled by the uncanny resemblance between him and a 6-million-year-old prehistoric human. They get a little carried away, even though Claire is engaged to an older judge who indulges her adventures but who has a few secrets of his own. Meanwhile, Gaby tracks Ivy down at Carnegie Hall, where she's taking a singing lesson with the perpetually inebriated Madame Dilly, who warns her that art and passion don't mix. Ivy's secret is that in order to pay for her lessons, she works as a burlesque dancer on Coney Island. After the three couples agree to meet up for a night on the town, Madame Dilly warns Ivy that she will tell the Miss Turnstiles people about her other job unless she pays her bill. Ivy runs off, and Madame Dilly tells Gaby that she has given him up. Gaby and the two couples go from club to club to try to find her. Adventures ensue, songs are sung, and dances are danced. Eventually, they do find Ivy, bumping and grinding in an Arabian Nights show. When Gaby accidentally pulls her skirt off, the police arrive along with Claire's fiancé, the judge, who declares that he has had enough of her indulgences and threatens to have them all arrested. She asks for his forgiveness and wonders if maybe he has never had any adventures of his own. He then lets out a sneeze, which is identical to the sneezes that Hildy, the cab driver's roommate, has been sniffling through all evening long. By this point, it's dawn again, and Ozzie, Chip, and Gaby return to the Navy Yard, escorted by a policeman. In the nick of time, Claire, Hildy, and Ivy arrive and throw themselves into the sailor's arms. It seems the judge understood, after all. And just as their day comes to an end, 3 more young sailors appear, ready for their own 24-hour urban adventure, and we are back where we began. On the Town ran for 463 performances, closing 6 months after the end of the war, and was later made into a movie starring Gene Kelly, Frank Sinatra, Ann Miller, and Betty Garrett. Stanley Greene said this show must be credited as the first to latch on to the city itself as a vital part of the story. Indeed, what Oklahoma had done for rural America, On the Town now did for urban America. End quote. This is Rick Malone for the San Francisco Symphony.